remarkable presentation and to show all that you have been working for the past months, and good luck to everyone.
Hello dear jurors and participants of the conference. My name is Dmitry. Today I will tell you about my results on the endpoints problem and its connection to millennium problems. The millennium problems are 7 problems in mathematics that were stated by the Clay Mathematics Institute in the year 2000. The correct solution to any of them results in a $1 million prize being awarded by the institution to discover. And one of these problems is the P versus NP problem. It asks whether the problem whose solution can be verified quickly can also be solved quickly. And a positive answer to this problem allows to solve many applied problems in real time. The n-queens problem is the problem of placing m chess queens on m times n chessboard in such way that no 2 queens attack each other. This problem can be divided into these 3 subproblems, which you can see on this slide. And in August of the previous year, a group of mathematicians from Scotland proved that the last problem, the n-queens problem, is equivalent to the P versus NP problem. Namely, if this problem can be solved in polynomial time, then P is equal to NP. Any arrangement of queens can be represented as a matrix or as a permutation. And an arrangement is a solution to the n-queens problem if and only if the following condition holds. I represent all arrangements of queens as a so-called queen function. It is a special map which is defined on the partition of set of segment 1n by segments, and the amount of these segments is called the width of the queen function. In the width theorem, I found a new proof that a solution exists for any n with boarded width 3. I need to notice that the width in this theorem cannot be reduced because my program for n equal to 15 checked that there are no solutions that can be represented the queen function of width 1 or 2. And moreover, all known solutions have a greater width than mine. They are set in a more difficult way than mine, and their proofs are much longer. Here you can see my solution for n equal to 20 and the easiest known solution for n equal to 20, which has a greater width than mine. The proof of the width theorem is based on 5 lemmas. The primary is the following one, which gives a solution for a classic board 8 times 8. As I know, this solution is the easiest of the known ones. From 2 arbitrary arrangements, you can easily get a new arrangement by inserting one arrangement into queen's positions of another arrangement. And the resulting arrangement I call a composition of arrangements. But a composition is not always a solution. That's why I found that's why I found the necessary and sufficient condition of being a composition of solutions a solution. The sufficiency of this criterion was proved 100 years ago by Poya, but the necessity was an open question, and I proved it. As well, these two new corollaries were obtained. Now let's talk about the connection between width and compositions. The rotation of the board doesn't save the width of the representation. That's why we introduced the definition of fundamental set of solutions, which is a set of solutions that generate all solutions by reflecting and rotating the boards in this set. Also, the width of the composition, it's easy to see that it will be quite large. That's why we introduced a new definition of Q-reducible numbers, such numbers that none of the solutions of such size can be represented as a composition of smaller boards. And in the next statement, I completely describe all Q-reducible positive integers. They can be primes, doubled primes, and triple primes, or the numbers of such form. Next, I introduced a hypothesis that describes all solutions for for such Q-reducible n that n-1 is also Q-reducible. To support this hypothesis, I wrote a program which has checked it for values of n up to 14, while the number of solutions is known only for n up to 27. To summarize, I can say that I proved two new theorems on the Queen's arrangement. Secondly, I proposed a hypothesis that solves the n-Queen's problem and consequently the P-persistent P problem for some values of n. I checked that hypothesis for n up to 14, and consequently the program that solves the problem of number of solutions to the n-Queen's problem for that values of n. During the research, new problems had arise, and generally the problem is if there are infinitely many numbers, that's despite the condition of hypothesis. And in particular, this is it is the problem that there are infinitely many primes of form 2 to the power of 8 times 3 to the power of L minus 1, which is the generalization of the Mersenne primes problem. And also other infinitely many primes, such that this double prime plus 1 is also prime. I think that's all. Thank you for your attention. And now I'm going to answer any questions that you may have.
Maybe we can take a glance of at least some proof. Sketch and
What do you want to do? What theory do you want to
maybe your personal theory.
I think that now it will be too long to
No, sketch.
sketch. Yeah, no. For example, this lemma needs only to prove that to check this criterion. We only get this formula, and then we for any I and j different, we differ their mapped
critical resources.
Yeah, the reference you can see in my abstract.
Did you use any methods for proof from resources, or is your call?
It's my these all proofs are mine.
What methods?
The methods it's just a combinatorial facts.
So you guess all the solutions are linear in various conditions. All the solutions for any problem are linear in various conditions. That's the solution you start with linear solution. No.
Yeah.
And add their compositions. And yes, that's all the solutions possible.
No, in the hypothesis I suggest you to consider only such and that are Q irreducible, so that for that n there are no solutions that are compositions of small numbers. And n-1 is also irreducible because we can add the queen to the upper right corner. So in this hypothesis there are no solutions that are compositions of small groups. And also
I would like to ask you about your motivation to deal with this. How did you come across this?
my supervisor suggested me to try this problem and increase.
Did you find it interesting?
Yeah, quite good.
We have any publications for this?
I don't know exact applications, but this
Your own. You prepare articles for.
Yeah, I will publish it soon.
Where?
First, I may be in archive.
How long ago?
I think it started to do it October or November.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Say that you are coming from Brazil and
So can I start? I am Ara Beatriz. I'm from Brazil, and the name of my project is Biovase Reuse of Interpeleraceous Biomass Wastes for the Production of Ecological Vases. The acai berry is a typical fruit from north of Brazil. And this fruit is used to make a kind of juice obtained from the acai berry pulp. And its consumption has gained space in the national and international market. And in Brazil, this fruit has a great relevance for the economy, the agrarian sector. And it is estimated that more than 200,000 tons of acai berries are generated per year. And after the pulp extraction process, a lot of wastes are generated, And these wastes are the lump, the acai lump, the dust, and the fiber. Now, excuse me, I will show you something. Yes. This is the dust. The first is the dust. The second is the fiber, and the thirdly is the lump. And the problem begins when, after the acai production, these due the lack of management, these wastes are discarded and the public roads, sewer lines, rivers, and open air dumps. And unfortunately, this is an old problem, and there is no waste management in my city. I'm from north of Brazil. It's the first state. I'm from the first state, Amapá, and we don't have a good management of organic wastes. And it is estimated that more than 1,193 tons of acai berry are generated per year. And in this production, wastes are generated, and all these wastes are discarded in an incorrect way. And they do not receive any type of treatment or correct final destination. And the impact, this is our organic wastes, is a biomass, and this is responsible for the water eutrophication when this biomass is discarded in the river, and this causes the ground pollution, and this is affecting the groundwater. And the water eutrophication, this is a problem for the marine ecosystems, and the slurry is a problem for the groundwater and for the ground. And the other problem is the bad smell, and a lot of people are exposed to risk of contamination, and these people are poor because they don't have a good access to the basic sanitation. And trying to resolve this problem, I had the idea of creating a biodegradable vase with this biomass. I started collecting this biomass, and after that, I put the biomass for a drying, natural drying in the sun. And after that, I started a sterilization process by boiling water with this biomass, and after all the time, I had to dry this biomass again. And after that, I started separating the substrates, the fiber, the dust, and the lump. And after that, I started to make a binder for my biodegradable vase, for my biodegradable packaging. And this binder is natural, and this binder is made of cornstarch. And after that, I mix all and put my homogeneous mass in plastic vases, and I put these plastic vases drying in the sun. And after that, I had my first prototype of biodegradable vase. Excuse me. Yeah, if you can open. And as a result, I have 4 prototypes, and they are very different because the first prototype is a biodegradable vase for more conventional plants, and the second is a kind of seedling tube. The third is no problem. And the third is a vase with the potential substitute for Dicksonia celowiana. Dicksonia celowiana is a native plant from Atlantic forest. This plant has a very special fiber, and this fiber was explored a lot, and today for cultivating orchids. And until today, this species is endangered. So here I have an alternative way if you want to cultivate an orchid. And the other is reforestation bomb. The reforestation bomb is basically an adaptation of a Japanese technique, because the original reforestation bomb is made of clay, and the difference is that my biovase took the shape of a reforestation bomb, and this bomb is launched in areas that are suffering the degradation process. And here I have a way to recover these areas. And after that, I started the chemical analysis of my prototypes, and I had great results. Because if I compare with the ideal ground for cultivating plants, I have almost the same properties in the biodegradable vases, and this is something that can help the plants during your development. For an example, here we have the potential acidity, and when your potential acidity is high, that means that here I have a great possibility of nutrition during the plant development. And the other is hydrogen potential. If you compare with neutral ground, it's almost perfect because it's very similar, almost 7. And after that, I can aggregate some values to my project, because here I have a sustainable idea with a low cost, because I can substitute the plastic packaging, and if you compare the plastic packaging is between 20 and 30% more costly than my biodegradable vase. And the other is the affordable social technology, because this is something affecting poor population. And the other is potential substitutes to plastic packaging. And here I can work with reverse logistics, because here I can propose an alternative management, and I can give a correct final destination for these wastes. And the UN development goals, do you know what is the development goals? It's basically the acting of sustainable in almost all areas. And they have 17 sustainable development goals. And my project follows seven development goals, because here I can work with my community. I can help the people that are depending of the acai production, and I can work with environmental education, and I can help in the economy of my state. And here it's possible to. And here I have the possibility of working with the. Here I have the possibility of working with the sustainability and the environmental education in practice. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation. Did you try to present your results to the authorities in your region? Did you present the results?
Sorry,
Your
can you say
idea?
slowly?
Okay.
I'm having some difficulty with your accent.
Did you try to present your results to authorities in your area or in your region?
Yes.
Did you plan to patent this? Is it possible to make a patent to this idea?
Yes,
Or
I
is
want
it-
to make it.
And for the question is this a new idea for your area, or maybe someone else also produced something similar?
This is there's a lot of ways to reuse the acai lamp, but the difference is that here I can use all the biomass. In my region, when people are making the reuse of this kind of biomass, they use just one part of the biomass, so the rest are being discarded. And the difference is that I'm using all the biomass. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, I can say that this research is quite a breakthrough to solving these ecological problems in Brazil, in your country, in your area, I can say. But you have just a small question. Did you try to grow your own plant in this kind of biowaste?
Yes, I'm doing my research in a Brazilian institute, in a Brazilian Agrarian Institute. And now I'm studying the possibility of nutrition of the plants, because I was observing that now the plants are growing up so fast with the biodegradable basins.
Could you tell us more about this reforestation bomb? What are the advantages of it?
Okay. For an example, there's a area suffering with the degradation process, and I take this reforestation bomb in a great quantity. So these bombs are launched in these areas. They are
Just dig
suffering.
them in the soil?
No, they are launched.
Okay, by plane?
Yeah, by plane. And after that, it's necessary to make observation during semesters, because in the first four months you can see the plants growing up, and these areas can be recovered.
But what is the advantage of bomb? Why don't you just spray seeds or something, but this bomb? There is
The advantage
yes.
is that it's more security for the seed when you put the seed on this reforestation bomb, and this is our oldest technique, and you can it's better too. And I'm using a biomass that is so prejudicial for the environment.
And is there any substance you use to glue it up, or it just
It's just
stick together?
the binder made of cornstarch.
Okay. Thank you.
In your conclusion, you said that you make a biodegradable waste low cost.
I'm not understanding, sorry.
In your design, do you calculate
Yeah,
how much money to make biodegradable phrases from
based on
compare
Brazil.
with plastic?
Yeah, use it for cultivating plants. In Brazil, if you compare with plastic packaging, the plastic packaging is very costly, between 20 and 30% if you compare with my biodegradable waste.
You don't calculate how much you need to produce.
To produce, well, there's a low cost, but I did it only in Brazilian money. For the next, I can give you an example with dollar. It's 10 cents
Okay.
almost.
I thought about what purpose can you use for this biowaste, and I thought that perhaps a professional gardener can sell these plants within this phase.
Yes.
Did you have any contact with a professional gardener for this purpose? And perhaps you can make a small business out of this.
Well, let me try to explain. I don't know if I understand your question. So I'm doing you want to know if I have a contact with a professional?
Yes.
Can you repeat?
I think a professional gardener, he must sell his plants, and perhaps he can sell his plants within this biowaste. Yes? Did you have any contact?
To my first question, this is actually similar to my first question. Did you make any contact with someone who can
Support
use
the
this?
Not now, because I'm still doing the research. I believe that in the final of this year I will finish, and my idea is basically make a sustainable startup with that, but it's something with social impact.
Okay, thank you.
Look at that. Thank you.
Well, now I would like to give the floor to Danielle.
My name is Daniela, and I'm representing the presentation Natural Estimators for Plants and Organic Development. I made it together with my classmate Daniela Barr. So, doing a garden, don't want to give a lot of chemicals, nutrients, and other harmful substances of use on our own grown vegetables. So, by the scientific data, it was found that the factors and development of the plants is found in probiotics are physically can have small changes in small quantities and small changes in the development and growth of the plant. The hypothesis also, depending on the composition that the biostimulators are divided into two groups. The first are natural and the second one is chemical. The natural you can make by yourself and the chemicals you can buy in the shops. The hypothesis, with the help of the stimulators and fluids such as processes of growing of lighthouse, increase the number of crops, and the control of crop germination. Before we decided to investigate how does natural stimulators act on the growth and development of the plants. So as you see, we use the objects. First one is oil burner, the second one is the critical diaphragm, the third one is powder seeder, and the last one is red powder. Now, oil burner. We cut up the leaves and put it in the fridge for 4 days. After we resisted with water and the solution was for 7 days, we took a diaphragm to dry a little and create with the boiling water and plastic solution for 7 days. And then separately to dried onion husks and with boiling water, and of course there's acids and grease. And the last one, honey on 1 liter, we took 1 teaspoon of the natural honey. As you see in the experiment, we diluted water 1:3, and 10 seeds were put into the petri dishes, and after this experiment with those solutions that we made, and this experiment lasted for 10 days. As you see that I dropped the drops of our solutions to the petri dish, but as you see there's 5 petri dish, and number 5 it was controlled with the water because we wanted to see how it would work with the water. As you see, this is the table of the seed germination. So, in the Oagera was number 1 and honey were number 4. Another seeds were raised on 5 day. And of course, an example, number 2, Tikadaka, 7 seeds were emerging, and the number of 3, ICYS 8 seeds were emerging on the 10th day. So, as you see, the greatest resultat shows the honey and the oil. Experiment number 2. Spotted shoots were placed in the containers for the germination, and the containers were placed in the same condition. Approach with the good and appreciated solutions of the food. So regularly each other day, the root rate was measured in the lab and wrote everything in the table, you will see. And after 10 days, the root depth of the seedling each area was measured. So the data was recorded. As you see on those pictures, how there goes our experiment. On day 3, on day 5, on day 7, and the last one is day 10. As you see on this table is the length of the shoots. As a result of the experiment, it was revealed that the solutions of the cone points and open shoots included. So in combination with the water was controlled, honey seed were 3.4 centimeters, and oil barrel were 2.4 centimeters. Means the last meters of the seed combination rate, and honey solution were was 1 centimeters and had the effect on the growth. Shoots and however shoots and solutions of almond seed were 3 centimeters, in order to arrive at 2.8 centimeters. So there was force of compared to that. On this table, you see the length of the roots. As we see, the best one were water vapor and hot water were 6.8 centimeters, and the honey were 7.6 centimeters, and the small length was closer to only 2 centimeters. The conclusion of this slide. So, as we see now, all natural substances have very good results made on the development and growth on the plants. So, as we see, the best one were aloe vera and honey. So, of course, as we know about the honey, that it has acids, antimicrobial, antiseptic, and mold-retaining properties, which is very important for you. And last one, we don't recommend to use the ICYS diet because it was just first of all knowledge. So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you for the presentation. I do have some questions I will start you off. In one of your experiments you used honey, and the pictures I saw were jars of honey, but that is processed honey. Did you use processed honey or raw honey, and do you understand what makes the difference?
Maybe, but of course we know that it's like this natural honey, and the teachers will tell us that it's the I think that it was processed.
Yes. Do you understand what the difference is between processed honey and raw honey?
I don't know how to tell you in English, but my brain understands.
Yes. Any more questions? Yes.
Hi, Caroline. Actually, several maybe. Why have you choose to use your experiment on cucumber seeds?
Good question though, because we wanted to only use vegetables, And we thought why not to make experiment with cucumbers? Because now like all the people doing cucumbers, it's really
Are there any advantages for using cucumber seeds compared to, I don't know, the seeds of any other type of vegetable which we are using regularly for?
I don't think so, no, because all our experiments are isometers for the vegetables. So we only use one type of the vegetables and seeds of it. So at all our experiment and all the estimators, it's like I can say for all vegetables. So,
Okay, and you mentioned, but I, to be honest, forget, how many seeds were you used per one petri dish? There was a photo of one petri dish, and I saw several cucumber seeds. I don't know why have you chosen just 6? Because they are pretty small, so maybe you can put more or more replica in petri dishes.
if you put too much, the experiment can go well.
Okay.
So as maybe really good, it's just like everything. It depends on our experiment and our estimators. And of course,
So, and how also seeds were treated? So in a petri dish, what was inside, and how do you treat it actually, cucumber seeds? So there was a petri dish. Do you have some, like, I don't know, paper below cucumber? Which kind of paper it was? Was it this paper?
No.
Is it okay to use it? Which one? You heard for filter paper? Yeah. Okay, thanks.
did you do any statistical analysis? Your experiment? Can you show me, for example, one of your graph? Yes. You can show me the tables about
Okay, for example, this one. Just show me.
It's also this one. It's germination seeds. Sorry, what's the question?
Did you do any statistical analysis? Did you repeat how many times you reviewed your experiments and then whether you get
Every week.
that is the time, right? But like for example, she asked you how many seeds, okay, and how many petri you have. For example, 8 seeds, for example, and then you measure something, how many times, how many samples.
We measure the length of it, for example, was with the shoes. So with the we use the glue to make it, and we have to make it every like.
Did you calculate the average?
Question? Yes. I have one more question about the aloe vera. Aloe vera, the inside of it, it's very valuable. And do you know where it's commonly used for? And where it's used? You got pictures of the aloe vera, and you used an extract of the aloe vera. Now, if you use the inside of the aloe vera, the gel, the jelly stuff, well, it's very expensive for professional use. But where is it commonly used for? Why is it such good? Why it's so expensive? Why is it such a good? Where is it good for? For health. Well, I think there are 2 things. Women would like to use it in creams, but if you want to use the pure stuff, it's used by fire centers for people with burnt skin. And it's really soothing because it's breathing. Yeah? Okay, thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Victoria Vlad, and I'm from Romania. The name of our project is experimenting with AstroPy. First things first, what is AstroPy? AstroPy is a small computer developed by the Raspberry Pi Foundation in collaboration with the UK Space Agency and ESA. The AstroPy is also the name of a competition launched by ESA in the year 2016, and this is a model of our main objectives were detecting the human presence, measuring different physical parameters such as temperature and humidity, and determine the gravitational acceleration and the altitude at which the ISS is flying while the clock was running. The main components of the AstroPy are the Raspberry Pi version 2 and the Sense Pad. PAD stands for hardware attached on top. The Raspberry Pi version 2 has a powerful processor which helps it run Windows 10 and Ubuntu. Because it has so little memory, it needs an SD card to run those. The Sense Pad has all the sensors needed, such as temperature sensor, humidity sensor, pressure sensor, accelerometer, gyroscope, and magnetometer. The last three make up the IMU, which is the inertial measurement unit. It also has the visible light camera and infrared camera and 8x8 LED matrix and joystick and buttons. The results. Our code ran there for 3 hours between 11:45 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. and we measured for each variable 10,550 values. And here is a small table of some of the values. The humidity sensor measures the amount of vapor in the air. The water vapor is supposed to come from a human person, a human being. We suppose that there were no other external sources for the water vapor could come from. And this is why we use the humidity sensor to measure, to detect the human presence. This is a chart of the data registered during a day in the physics lab. Temperature sensor can measure between -40 degrees Celsius and plus 120 degrees Celsius. I considered important measuring the temperature on the ISS because on the side with light there are plus 200 degrees Celsius and on the dark side of the ISS are -121 degrees Celsius. And in the interior of the station must be a constant temperature. And this is a chart of the data register of the temperature which was collected during the normal day in the physics lab. And this is the data we received from the astronauts from the ISS. The average temperature there was 27.54 degrees Celsius. The accelerometer measures the direction and the acceleration of the force which is applied, and it measures in 3 dimensions. And here is a small representation of how it works. These are the formulas used for calculating the gravitational acceleration and the distance at which and the altitude at which the ISS is flying. And we took the speed from the ESA slide, the gravitational acceleration, which is G0, we measured it with the accelerometer in Cluj-Napoca, and the radius of the Earth was considered being 6,471 kilometers. Here is a chart of the gravitational acceleration which is present on the ISS, which was 0.86 decameters per second squared, and the average altitude was 454.72 kilometers. The LED matrix contains 8x8 LED screen which contains 64 LEDs, each of them containing a RGB, another 3 LEDs which are for RGB. Basically, we have in conclusion, our our data collection and processing action was successful, achieving the result within a reasonable limit from the actual values of gravitational acceleration. We took the gravitational acceleration from literature, and which was 8.73, and we compared with our results, and they were pretty close. And some of the values detected by the humidity sensor were interpreted as human presence because we didn't know for sure if there were any vapor leaks. Thank you for listening.
We have here, I have a little problem to understand what is your contribution. Raspberry Pi is already existing.
Yes.
You use that, and this sensor is already existing.
Yes.
And what is your contribution?
My contribution to this project was actually writing the code on the AstroPi and interpreting the data we received from the astronauts.
Okay, and this is go to the station or
No,
it
just
goes
there are two more on the ISS. Just the code was sent there to run.
Okay. And because in results you mentioned someone Junior Pocket and someone station. It's a little bit mixed. Are all from station?
I mean, this one is from the space station?
Not, but data. Are data from space station or data are from...
Some of the data are from Earth. The two charts which were registered in the physics lab are from our physics lab in Cluj, in Bălcescu, and the other charts are made with the data registered on the ISS. As a comparison.
You suppose about humidity sensor that there will be only one person in the room, not another.
No, just human presence, not the amount of people are in the room.
Okay, but for example, if I open the window, I think that the humidity sensor shows that some breeze or
It shows some oscillations if we open the door because there are leaks in the room. And we suppose that actually the data was released in Tuesday while the windows were closed, so there weren't any leaks.
Do it works under specific conditions?
No, any conditions were.
Okay.
Any plans for the future?
Any plans for the future? For now, no. I think I haven't plans for the future for now.
Okay, thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Veljko Jonovic and it's my pleasure to be here and to show you my work, which is called Measuring Mileage Using an Encoder. Also, I would like to tell you that I'm coming from Regionalni Centar for Talente Youth in Belgrade, Serbia. So, what's the problem? Well, when we are buying a used vehicle, like in this example car, somebody wants to get more money and that person lowers the mileage and automatically increases the price of the vehicle. So, European Union in 2008 made a study and they come to with these values that 1.4 to 2.8 billion euros per year ends in black market. So I was listening to that TV news, and I have to think I don't help European Union to make a device which will measure mileage without reversing to the older values. So, in 2008, European Union made organization Eurocarries, European Car and Driving License Information System, and in cooperation with them I made my device. And voila, we have a few components in my device. Arduino Uno, photoencoder, protoboards, and LED lights. Well, why I use Arduino Uno, I will tell you later. But now to see schema work. When the vehicle turns on, lighter starts to take electricity from the vehicle. Now, device turns on and waits to see all 4 control spots. Wheel starts to rotate. Then, after that, wheel is rotating. Of course, photoencoder waits to see all 4 control spots. 4 control spots are LED lights. So, when the photoencoder saw all 4 control spots, automatically sends signal to Arduino that it saw all 4 control spots, and with a special algorithm that I made, it calculates mileage and writes it in EPROM. Why I use EPROM? Well, when the device is shut down, EPROM saves all values until somebody breaks EPROM. So, process is repeating all over again until the device is shut down or cut. And why I use Arduino Uno? Well, it has 5-volt output. Also, it has a large list of compatible components. Then it doesn't have multi-threading. It's important because if Arduino Uno if Arduino has a bug, and if it forget where it stopped, it automatically remembers that he need to just make one algorithm. So, also it has small processing power. It doesn't matter now why it has small processing power, because if we want to have big processing power, it needs to be larger, but my device is in a box for the hard disk, and it doesn't use a lot of space. So, photoencoder. I use photoencoder for detecting all 4 control spots, and 4 control spots are LED lights. And now, let's see schema work. Light source now are LED lights. This is vehicle or encoder wheel in this picture, and a light source is photoencoder. Now, if photoencoder so only one control spot, it must see all 4, because if we are on downhill and when we want to go straight, and if car goes back a little bit when we are switching the speed, it can cross to light source, and the photoencoder maybe measure it as the car made a full circle or a wheel, as you want to understand. So, how we know that somebody touched our device? Well, it's simple. We'll put the device in resin. Why I put device in resin? Well, it's simple. When it puts in a device, when we put it in box, it automatically is solid. And when somebody wants to dig, to connect to a EPROM to return to the older values, that person must dig until it reaches the EPROM. And when we go to servicer automatically marks car as unsafety, and that somebody tried to return mileage to older values. And also, I would like to tell you that if we use my device, we are going to spend a little money then before using my device, as conclusion says. So, what are my plans for a future? Well, I want to connect with GPS because when we are connected with GPS, automatically we have our location. And GPS also calculates mileage, but I wanted to make something brand new that nobody can touch. Then, I would like to activate European database of mileage. I am in communication with European Commission and Eurocarries, really. And also I want to connect with speedometer because if we destroy control spots, if we have crash, maybe device is destroyed, and we also have a speedometer that calculates mileage, and automatically it will go to calculate mileage with speedometer. And now, thank you for your attention.
Where is your material situated?
What?
Where is your sensor situated?
Well, we have the aluminium foil that is on photoencoder and LED light, and we directly like we are want to say to LED light just send the light on photoencoder. We'll put the wheel in aluminium foil, not all, just from the inside side. And around the LED light we have aluminium foil. And when photoencoder, I will show you now. Not this. We have here aluminium foil around the light source. That is LED light. And aluminium foil, like how to explain you, sends light to photoencoder. We can't see sun. We hide sun from the photoencoder. It only can see 4 control spots. And we put the photoencoder on unrotate part of the wheel. That's important because when wheel is rotating, maybe encoder could calculate that it saw 4 control spots, but it maybe saw only 1. Because wheel have a big part of wheel and small part of wheel. And now if we put on the unrotating part of wheel photoencoder, light source only be on the rotating part of the wheel. And the photoencoder waits to see that 4 control spots. And if a device is died in crash, I want to connect with speedometer because speedometer also calculates mileage, but we can in speedometer to return to the older values. But Arduino cannot return to the older values because we put device in resin, and you must dig to reach the EPROM.
Try on a real wheel?
Yes. I am cooperating with Audi and Mercedes. Now my device is in Audi Corporation in Serbia. And also I have a deal with one company that if my work goes good on the ICYS, or if I won a medal, I will sell to them my patent for $15,000. And also I will have 5% of all sold devices. And European Union wants to put this device in cars. Because the returning mileage is a big problem, because 1.4 to 8 billion euros per year goes to the black market. And European Union wants to reverse to the much little values, about 100 million euros to 200 million euros. That European Union wants now. And in future, I hope that we won't have any problem with returning mileage to the older values.
If I understand you correctly, you have 4 contact spots at each wheel.
Not each wheel, on one wheel. On one wheel I have 4 contact spots. Because it must make a full circle.
But you choose just one wheel and you're...
It's not one wheel. But in future, because Arduino Uno is not very big device, it can only connect to the one wheel. And I want to make with Audi to connect to all 4 wheels and also to connect with speedometer. Why? There's a reason why I want to make to connect with speedometer and GPS. And also I'm going to activate the European database in future, I hope, with European Commission.
How does mileage counter work? Usually. How does the usual mileage counter work?
Well, when vehicle makes a full circle, it with the formula that O is equal to RP, P is 3.14. It automatically calculates mileage as for that
But how is a full circle detected?
With 4 control spots, I put.
I mean, not your device, but the one which is.
With speed. There's a reason why it's connected to speedometer. As you can see, we have as you can see here is the mileage, and this is speed. Now, we know time, and we know in this picture you cannot see values of mileage, but we know time and speed, and automatically we know the mileage with the formula. Okay. Any questions?
So your device mileage stays in the EEPROM?
Yeah. EEPROM is used.
But can we see the mileage in the car?
No, we can't see. Only servicer can see. And when servicer writes that in European database with number of chassis, we know in every single moment how much our car costs. We won't have a problem with mileage. Any more questions?
How is the device connected with the screen in the car?
Now it's not connected, but I plan for in future to connect with the screen in the car, because device is down about. We have pedals, and device is right next to the pedals. That's the problem, because we haven't got space now. But in the future cars, we will have a special place for my device.
So how do you know if your device is working wrong, for example?
What? I didn't hear.
If your device is working wrong, if it's not working, how do you know it?
If it goes wrong, something.
That's the reason why I'm going to connect with speedometer. Speedometer cannot work with always. If somebody returns to all wheels, but in Arduino Uno we cannot, because I am using encoder, and if you want to return to the older wheels, you must dig to reach the EEPROM. And if servicer sees that your car is marked as unsafe car for driving and unsafe for sale.
And acceleration, does acceleration influence your device? The acceleration on the wheel is very big.
Yeah, of course it's very big, but Arduino Uno can calculate to the, I think, 5 zeros values that so that in part of second Arduino we can calculate mileage. I tested with their Audi, and we came up to the conclusion that the max speed that that my device works is 200 kilometers per hour. Any questions?
Any questions? Cool. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Ugut. Today I will present you my project. After a certain age, people use dental prostheses. There is a 50% increase in world population between 2010 and 2015. But this graphic shows us increase in all population 2 times. As the world population increased, diseases caused dental prosthesis increase too. While the common solution for this problem affects on bacteria, but they don't have any effect on fungus, and that makes the problem. Candida albicans is the most common type of fungus causing these diseases. According to articles in my research, there are materials like gold and silver degrade Candida albicans. I use titanium dioxide because it is cheap and more common. My main target is to show that my product can degrade Candida albicans. Besides the feature, I also made an attention to have as properties in my product. These are usable, low cost, ease of use, and biocompatible. I already said about Candida albicans. It is the normal member of human part in healthy human flora. But if immune system gets weak, Candida albicans reproduce themselves and causing diseases. Also, this fungi can be shown in hospital infections, as you can see in this chart. My project has designed by the diseases caused Candida albicans, which I came across in dental prosthesis uses more. I'll talk about, I use titanium dioxide. It is a semiconductor which has 3.2 electron volt energy, so it uses as a nanoparticle matter. It has a large surface, and it is the most used photocatalyst. It is solvent titanium dioxide I use in my design. Also, titanium dioxide is a biocompatible. It uses in fruits, toothpaste, sun creams, dyes, and the clay antimicrobial surface. Why titanium dioxide uses as a photocatalyst? It has most all properties which a good photocatalyst must have. Stability, these properties put in order like stability of titanium dioxide, the low cost, having a large surface, being non-toxic, water insolubility, having nanoparticle form. On the titanium dioxide, photocatalysis in titanium dioxide, self-cleaning, non-condensing, antimicrobial surface formation, and other control properties can be absorbed. When the UV light comes, there are electrons transferred from the valence band to conduction band, and there are 4 electron hole pairs and react with water molecules and causing hydroxyl and radicals to form. And electron in conduction band react with O2 molecules and causing oxygen anion radicals to form. And this molecule attacks the carbon-carbon bonds and degrades the organic pollutants. In my designing method,
You can see the 3D design of my UV lab base. Let's see. And this is section drawing of my UV lab design. Glass powered by battery around here, and lights from the UV lab are reflected in the walls of the glasses. And there are from self-cleaning formation inside the glass cup. I took 2 samples and coated with titanium dioxide one of them, and keep uncoated the other. The lead that I must use in my design. Minimum absorption on glass and maximum absorption in titanium dioxide. Blue lines shows absorption on titanium dioxide, and red line shows the uncoated glass cup. So I set a range between 2065 and 2075. So I decided to use 370 nanometers UV lab in my design according to these properties. As a result of measurements, I have seen the 370 nanometers that I bought is 365 nanometers, but it is in the range that I set, so I decided to use it. I sterilized the cup before the coating with ultrasonic cleaner and dried with nitrogen gas. To coat titanium dioxide, I used this metal as a solvent and added to ethanol to titanium dioxide at rate 1:4:1 in with magnetic striver in 1000 RPM for 10 minutes. I choosing spraying method because this method is low cost and this is important for us. After the coating method, I keep weighted it in oven at the temperatures of 50 Celsius degree for 40 minutes. I put the base on two-tone ULEDs, and I prepared the PDMS. I added the poured agent to PDMS at the rate from 1 to 10, and I poured it once of the ULED base, and I keep waited in drying oven at temperatures of 70 Celsius degree for an hour. Why I use PDMS? Because PDMS has similar to optical properties with glass and allows the light to reach the glass cup before the breaking. My product was completed in this way. Also, I did a photocatalysis controlled experiment to show that my product works. I used methylene blue because under the UV light, titanium dioxide degrades the candida gas as well as methylene blue. I added 2 methylene blue to water at rate from 1 to 4, and I poured it in uncoated glass cup and titanium dioxide coated glass cup, and I prepared the methylene solution. I poured it in this, and I took samples from the solution in the glass cups on the top of the UV light base at regular intervals. How is there a change in methylene blue solution? Control group decided the uncoated glass cup. methylene blue's color is didn't change. But when we look at the methylene blue beside the titanium dioxide stuff, methylene blue's color is changed, and the last sample is almost transparent. Let's look at the absorption measurements graphics of these samples. There is no significant deterioration in absorption from the control group, but there is a big difference in methylene group than the control group. When we look at the time-dependent change of absorption measurements, control group was almost constant speed, but methylene group was 10 times faster than the control group. Result of my project, the product shows that photocatalysis activity 10 times faster than normal condition, and it's ready to get a patent. Also, this project is a product will make easier the lives of people who use dental prostheses, especially old people. I would like to say the features I have identified at the beginning shows after the my product was completed. Cost of my design lower than today's solution, and it is ease of use and reusable. Most results of my project. The first sample is the literature. These are my references in research to my project. As a study, I made this one. I predicted the original product which can be reusable, low cost, and ease of use. I contribute to this project. I contribute in the literature. This is my project. Thanks for listening.
Can you say where did you do this investigation?
In Izmir, from Turkey. Lab.
No, I mean in your maybe home kitchen, at school laboratory, and anywhere. Laboratory, school laboratory, or investigations?
No, university.
University. So could you very shortly say your own contribution in this big investigation? What did you do? Personally, because when you work in big scientific collective, it's very difficult to share your work with somebody. Maybe your advisors made some part, but what did you do personally?
I took these samples and I made an experiment in this lab and measured. How can I say? I made an experiment and take measurements, and I plotted.
So you took part in all experiments?
Yes.
Yes, who prepared material? You or your advisors? Prepared.
I prepared.
You?
Yes.
So material was done by you?
No, in lab there isn't these materials in lab. I used.
You used?
Yes.
Physical questions since we're in the physical section here.
Photonic science.
Yes, yeah. So when you put your film on this spinner, my first question would be actually, what's the glass? Is it a UV transparent glass you use here? Is it quartz or is it standardized?
Spring quartz.
Yeah, okay, the coating is, we just come to it.
Uncoated.
What about the glass? Is it absorbing the UV light or is it transparent to UV?
UV light, when the UV light comes, glass absorbs the light. And titanium dioxide absorption.
Okay, then let's go on. So you put the coating inside. Do you have an idea how big or how good the coupling is from the light from the inside the glass within to the film? Is it efficient or is that just a little temperature, a little light going into your film? You need it at the inner side where you have the solution, yeah? Because of the chemistry.
Yes, but chemistry,
Okay, I don't want to confuse it.
I'm sorry.
So when you told about your motivation, you showed us two graphs. One of that was the growth of the population and one of the elder population. And is this, what is the correlation in the growth of the elder population? Is it a linear growth or the exponential growth of the elder population? So does the growth of the elder population linear or exponential or something else?
In Europe.
Or in the entire world, I mean.
Did you understand the question? Maybe your colleagues can translate. Did you understand the question? you can help to translate.
So, or go back to the first slide or second slide. Yes. Okay, so there's where the red line is. So this shows us the old population in the entire world. So so is this growth linear or exponential?
Linear.
Is it linear?
Yes.
Okay.